What? You animal! Have you completely lost all fear? Why did Mom say you refused to take out a loan for her? The husband roared, striking his wife in the face. But the bastard didn't yet know what his quiet little wife was capable of. But before we continue, write in the comments what city you're from, whether you've subscribed to the channel, and hit the like button. Enjoy listening. Alina Sergeyevna Wolf was born in a small industrial town where gray 5-story apartment buildings stood alongside the smoking chimneys of a steel mill. Her childhood could hardly be called cloudless. Her father, Sergei Mihailovich, worked as a shift supervisor at the plant and often came home irritated and exhausted. On such days, her mother, Elena Petrovna, tried to be quieter than water, lower than grass, and little Alina also had to behave extremely quietly. Don't get in your father's way when he's in a bad mood, her mother often repeated, clearing the half-eaten dinner from the table when her father, slamming the door, would go out to the garage to cool off. Like many men of his generation, Sergei Mihailovich believed that the most important thing in raising children was strictness. Alina especially caught it when she brought home B's from school. "What? Do you think you're the smartest?" her father would yell, jabbing his finger at her report card. "Everyone else gets A's. Only you disgrace the family." Alina would shrink, trying to become as small and invisible as possible. This childhood habit of shrinking under pressure, of staying silent when everything inside was boiling, stayed with her for many years. The relationship between her parents could also hardly be called harmonious. Her mother never contradicted her father, accepting his outbursts of anger and unfair accusations as a given. "All men are like that," she would say when Alina tearfully asked why Dad yelled so much. The turning point in the girl's life came in 7th grade. Her mother, who had worked as a bookkeeper at the same plant as her father all her life, suddenly fell ill. The diagnosis of cancer sounded like a death sentence. Treatment at the district hospital didn't help. The family didn't have money for clinics in the capital. Alina remembered that evening when her father returned from the hospital, sat down in the kitchen, and for the first time in her memory, cried. He didn't say a word, just sat with his head down, his shoulders shaking. 13-year-old Alina stood in the doorway, not knowing what to do. Approach, hug him, say something? But years of fear had done their work. She never dared to bridge that distance. Her mother died 3 months later. At the funeral, Alina held herself like a little soldier, not shedding a single tear. She cried later, at night, her face buried in her pillow so her father wouldn't hear. After his wife's death, her father became even harder, started drinking more often, spending time in the garage with equally gloomy men. He rarely appeared at home, and if he did, he would silently sit in front of the TV watching football or the news, ignoring his daughter. Now Alina cooked, washed, cleaned everything herself. She had to quickly transform from a child into an adult. Things at school weren't going brilliantly either. After her mother's death, her classmates felt sorry for Alina at first, but children's attention quickly switched to other things. And Alina herself, always quiet and inconspicuous, now withdrew even more into herself. Making friends was difficult. Most of her peers were interested in dances, fashionable clothes, and first kisses. Alina was thinking about what to buy for dinner and how to stretch her father's paycheck until the end of the month. Glimpses of happiness appeared in high school when Alina befriended her English literature teacher, Margaret Anderson. This middle-aged woman with intelligent eyes and a soft smile noticed a thirst for knowledge and love of books in the quiet girl. She was the first to tell Alina that she should go to college. "You have an analytical mind," Margaret Anderson would say, looking over Alina's essay, "and a clear style without unnecessary embellishments. You can make a good lawyer or economist." Her father met the idea of higher education without enthusiasm. "There's no money for college," he said flatly. "After high school, you'll go to work at the plant like all normal people." But Alina decided for the first time in her life to fight for her future. She secretly applied to the State University's economics program. She prepared at night after household chores and went to the entrance exams herself, lying to her father that she was going on a class field trip. When she returned, pale with excitement, with news of her acceptance, Her father was silent for a long time, then grunted. Well, you got in, you got in. Just don't be a burden on me. Figure it out yourself. This was the closest thing to approval that Alina had ever heard from him. Her college years became a real breath of freedom for Alina. Getting a place in the dorm, she found herself for the first time away from her father's house, from the oppressive atmosphere in which she had grown up. The girl eagerly absorbed new knowledge, spent evenings in the library, worked part-time as a receptionist at a small cafe to have pocket money, along with her roommates. 3 lively girls from the journalism department initially considered Alina a strange, quiet girl, but gradually the ice melted. They were the ones who taught Alina how to do her makeup, pick out clothes, and even drag her to a couple of student parties. At one such party, Alina fell in love for the first time. Dan, a physics major, tall with expressive brown eyes, noticed the quiet girl sitting in the corner with a glass of juice. "You're not dancing?" he asked, sitting down next to her. "I don't know how," Alina admitted honestly. "I'll teach you." Their romance lasted 6 months, the happiest months of Alina's life. They walked along the waterfront, kissed under bridges, talked about books and movies. With Dan, Alina first felt like a woman, attractive and desired. But in winter, Dan suddenly began to distance himself, called less often, made up excuses not to meet. And then Alina saw him in the university cafeteria with another girl, a bright blonde from the law school. They were kissing openly. That evening, Alina cried into her pillow, like in childhood, and in the morning she vowed to herself that she would never let a man hurt her again. She focused on her studies, graduated with honors, and got a job at a small audit firm. 23-year-old Alina was no longer that frightened girl from the working-class neighborhood. She had learned to keep her back straight, speak confidently, defend her opinion, at least in professional matters. But deep down, she remained the same insecure girl, especially when it came to personal relationships. She rented a small but cozy studio apartment on the outskirts of town. On weekends, she went to see her father, brought groceries, cooked, cleaned. Her father, now retired, was more silent than yelling. Sometimes they even watched TV together, almost like a normal family. Alina thought she would live like this between work and her father's house, until she met Andrew. They met at a corporate party. The company where Alina worked rented a small restaurant for the New Year celebration, and the service was handled by a firm specializing in event organization. Andrew was a manager there. Tall, fit, with an open smile and piercing blue eyes, he immediately caught Alina's attention, as well as that of many other women in the room. But it was to her that he approached at the end of the evening, when most of her colleagues had already left. "Bored?" he asked, sitting down at the table where Alina was thoughtfully stirring the remains of a cocktail with a straw. "Observing," she replied. "And what are you observing?" "How efficiently we organize the party." "Professional interest." He laughed, and Alina liked his laugh. Sincere, infectious. "Andrew." He introduced himself, extending his hand. "Alina." They talked until the restaurant closed. It turned out they had a lot in common. Both grew up in small towns. Both made it on their own, without parental support. Andrew told her that after the military, he worked as a bartender, then as a restaurant manager, and now he had worked his way up to manager. "I want to open my own business," he shared. "A small cafe or restaurant. You know, the kind of place where people come not just to eat, but to rest their soul." Alina listened to him, her chin propped on her hand, and thought that she hadn't felt this comfortable talking to a man in a long time. She liked how Andrew talked about his dreams, how his eyes lit up when he discussed plans for the future. He seemed sincere, open, not trying to impress, but simply sharing what was important to him. "And you?" he asked. "What are your dreams?" Alina thought about it. Dreams? She had stopped dreaming somewhere along the way. Work, father, everyday routine had replaced dreams. "I don't know," she answered honestly. "I haven't thought about it in a long time." "That's not good," Andrew smiled. "Everyone should have dreams. Otherwise, what's the point of living?" They exchanged phone numbers, and Andrew promised to call. Alina didn't really believe he would. Men often promised to call, but didn't. But Andrew called the very next day. "Hi." His voice sounded cheerful in the receiver. "Remember we talked about dreams? I thought we could start with something simple. How about a movie tonight?" So began their relationship. Andrew turned out to be an attentive and caring boyfriend. He brought flowers for no reason, called just to ask how her day was going, planned interesting dates. With him, Alina felt special, desired, loved. "You're amazing," he would say, looking into her eyes. "I can't believe I'm so lucky." Alina blossomed. For the first time in many years, she felt truly happy. Andrew introduced her to his friends, a noisy, cheerful bunch who accepted Alina as one of their own. They went to the movies, bars, weekend trips. Life became bright and full. 6 months later, Andrew proposed. It happened in the same restaurant where they had met. He knelt down in front of the entire room, holding out a small velvet box. "Alina Sergeyevna Wolf," he said solemnly. "Will you marry me? I want to spend my life with you. You made me a better person." Alina said yes. She believed him, believed in their future together, believed that finally, her life would become the way she had secretly dreamed of, with love, family, support. The wedding was modest. Alina's father came, taciturn as always, but shook Andrew's hand and even said that his daughter had chosen well. From Andrew's side, there was his mother, Lyudmila Nikolaevna, a plump woman with a sharp tongue and evaluating gaze. She looked Alina over from head to toe, as if assessing a purchase in a store. "So this is your choice," she said to her son, not addressing Alina. "Well, we'll see." After the ceremony, Lyudmila Nikolaevna embraced Andrew tightly, almost squeezing him. "My only son," she said, and there were tears in her eyes. "Take care of him." These words were addressed to Alina, and in them, she heard not so much a request as a warning. But then she didn't attach any importance to it. She was too happy. The first months of marriage were, as is often the case, a period of adjustment. They rented a one-bedroom apartment in a decent area. Both worked, Alina at her audit firm, Andrew at the event company. In the evenings, they cooked dinner together, watched shows, made plans for the future. "We need to start saving for our own place," Alina said one evening, sitting with a notebook where she kept the family budget. "If we set aside a certain amount each month, in a couple of years, we can make a down payment." "A couple of years?" Andrew frowned. "That's too long. Maybe we should take out a loan now." "A loan is a big responsibility," Alina objected. "I prefer to save up for a good down payment first. Then the monthly payments will be manageable." "You, in your caution," Andrew smiled, kissing her on the temple. "Okay, let's do it your way." But Lyudmila Nikolaevna had her own opinion on this matter. She started visiting them almost every weekend, and each time she brought up the topic of the apartment. "You need to buy housing as soon as possible," she insisted, sitting at their kitchen table and drinking tea. "Rent is throwing money away. Look, my friend's daughter and her husband already have their own 2-bedroom. "Mom, we're saving up," Andrew explained. "Saving up. While you're saving up, prices will go up even more. You need to act now." "We're not ready yet." Alina tried to enter the conversation. "Not ready?" Lyudmila Nikolaevna looked at her as if she were an idiot. "When will you be ready?" "When you're old." "Lyudmila Nikolaevna, we're following our plan." "Your plan?" the mother-in-law interrupted. "I see. Well. After her departure, Andrew was thoughtful. "Maybe Mom is right," he said. "Maybe we really should take out a loan now." "Andrew, we discussed this. We agreed to save up for a down payment." "Yeah, but Mom has a point. Prices are going up." Alina felt irritation rising. Why was his mother interfering in their financial decisions? But she held back, not wanting to start a conflict. The visits from her mother-in-law became more frequent. Lyudmila Nikolaevna could show up unannounced, using the key that Andrew had given her just in case. She could come in the morning when Alina, just waking up, was walking around the apartment in her robe. Or in the evening when they were planning a quiet dinner for two. "I brought pies," Lyudmila Nikolaevna would announce, already in the kitchen, laying out food. "I thought, working people probably don't have time to cook properly." "Thank you, Lyudmila Nikolaevna," Alina would say politely, though internally she was seething. "But we were planning to make something ourselves." "What's the big deal? Now you have ready-made food. I spent half the day baking these." Andrew always supported his mother. "Mom made an effort. Why refuse? Besides, her pies are delicious." "It's not about the pies," Alina tried to explain when they were alone. It's about the fact that your mother comes without warning. This is our home. What do you mean, without warning? She's my mother. She has the right to visit her son whenever she wants. But maybe she could at least call first? Are you saying my mother is a burden to you? I'm not saying that. I'm asking for respect for our personal space. Personal space? Andrew snorted. You sound like some kind of psychologist. This is family. Family doesn't need personal space. Alina fell silent. There was no point in arguing. Andrew didn't hear her. About 6 months into the marriage, they started seriously looking for an apartment to buy. Alina spent evenings studying listings, comparing prices, locations. She made a spreadsheet with all the options, noting pros and cons. Look, she showed Andrew. This 2-bedroom is in a good area, close to the subway. The price is reasonable. Let me see. Andrew looked at the screen. Seems good. Let's go look at it on Saturday. But on Saturday, Ludmila Nikolaevna showed up. Where are you going? She asked, seeing them getting ready. We're going to look at an apartment, Andrew replied. An apartment? Without me? How can you look at an apartment without me? Mom, we'll manage. Andrew tried to object. Manage? You don't know anything about these things. I've been through this, I know what to look for. I'm coming with you. And she came. Not just that time, but to every viewing after that. Ludmila Nikolaevna evaluated each apartment as if she were the one buying it. She criticized the layout, the area, the neighbors, the infrastructure. This one won't do, she would say categorically. The windows face north. It'll be dark and cold. But the price is good, Alina objected. The price. You can't save on such things. Health is more important. Or, this neighborhood is terrible. There's a bar around the corner. There will be drunks at night. Ludmila and Nikolaevna. It's a perfectly respectable area. I know better. I won't let my son live in a bad area. Alina, try to talk to Andrew. Can we look at apartments? Just the two of us? Your mother has her own vision, and we have ours. Mom is just trying to help. She has experience. But we're the ones who will be living there, not her. Exactly. And that's why we should listen to someone with experience. In the end, they bought an apartment that Ludmila Nikolaevna approved of. A 2-bedroom in an area far from Alina's work, but close to her mother-in-law. The price was higher than Alina had planned, which meant a larger mortgage and higher monthly payments. We'll have to tighten our belts, Alina said, recalculating the budget. It'll be fine. Andrew waved her off. We'll manage somehow. But the problem started almost immediately. Ludmila Nikolaevna, using the argument that she had helped choose the apartment, now considered herself entitled to visit whenever she wanted. She had her own key, of course, and could show up at any time. She moved furniture without asking, threw out things she didn't like. This rug is so ugly. I bought you a new one, cooked in their kitchen. I made borscht. Andriusha loves it. Alina tried to protest, but each time Andrew took his mother's side. Mom is just trying to help. Why are you so ungrateful? I'm not ungrateful. I just want us to make decisions about our home ourselves. It's my home too, and my mother has the right to be here. The first serious conflict arose over money. 3 months after moving into the new apartment, Ludmila Nikolaevna asked Andrew to lend her money. Just a small amount, she said on the phone, and Andrew put her on speaker. I need to fix the roof at the dacha. I'll pay you back in a couple of months. How much do you need? Andrew asked. Ludmila Nikolaevna named a sum that was equal to their monthly mortgage payment. Mom, that's a lot, Andrew began uncertainly. A lot? For my own son? I raised you, fed you, clothed you, and now you're counting pennies. It's not about counting pennies. It's just that we ourselves. I'll pay you back. I said I'll pay you back. Or don't you trust your own mother? Of course I trust you. Okay, I'll transfer it tomorrow. After the call, Alina tried to talk to him. Andrew, we don't have that kind of money. We just paid for the apartment, bought furniture. We're barely making ends meet. It's my mother, he said, as if that explained everything. She needs help. She said she'll pay it back in 2 months. But what if she doesn't? What will we do? She'll pay it back. She's my mother, not some stranger. I understand that she's your mother, but we have our own financial obligations. The mortgage, utilities, food. We have a budget. Budget, budget. Andrew waved his hand irritably. You're obsessed with your budget. We're talking about my mother. And I'm talking about our future, about our financial security. My mother is also our future. When she's old, who will help her if not us? Alina felt a headache coming on. She went to the bedroom and lay down, staring at the ceiling. Something was going wrong in her marriage, but she couldn't yet figure out what exactly. 2 months passed, then 3. Ludmila Nikolaevna didn't pay back the money. When Alina carefully reminded Andrew about this, he got angry. Are you really going to demand money from my mother? What kind of person are you? I'm not demanding. I'm just saying that she promised to pay it back. She'll pay it back when she can. She's on a pension. She doesn't have much money. Then maybe she shouldn't have taken on repairs at the dacha. That's her dacha. She has the right to repair it. With our money? With my money, Andrew corrected. I earn it, and I decide how to spend it. This phrase hit Alina like a slap in the face. She also worked, also brought money into the family budget. But apparently, in Andrew's eyes, only his money counted. After this incident, their relationship began to deteriorate rapidly. Andrew became more irritable, found fault with every little thing. If Alina came home late from work, he accused her of neglecting the family. If she asked where he had been, he accused her of not trusting him. Ludmila Nikolaevna continued to visit and continued to ask for money. Once for new furniture, another time for medical treatment, then for something else. Andrew always gave in, and they increasingly had conflicts over finances. We can't keep living like this, Alina said one evening after another such incident. We need to learn to say no. Say no to my own mother? Are you out of your mind? I'm not saying we shouldn't help her, but there should be limits. We have our own needs, our own plans. Your needs, your plans, Andrew mocked. What about my mother's needs? But don't they matter? They matter, but our needs should be a priority. We're a family. Exactly, and family helps each other. But your mother is not our family in the sense of, not our family. Andrew jumped up from the couch. Did you hear that? My mother is not our family. I didn't say that. I meant that we, you and I, are the primary family unit, and I don't want to hear this nonsense. You're just selfish. You only think about yourself. He grabbed his jacket and left, slamming the door. Alina remained sitting on the couch, feeling tears rolling down her cheeks. How did they get to this point? They used to be so happy. The situation continued to worsen. Andrew began spending more time at his mother's, coming home late and in a bad mood. When Alina tried to talk, he brushed her off. I'm tired, I don't want to talk. But we need to discuss our problems. What problems? The problems are in your head. If you stop complaining all the time, everything would be fine. Ludmila Nikolaevna, sensing that her son and daughter-in-law's relationship was deteriorating, began to actively interfere. She called Alina, gave her advice on how to behave with her husband. You need to be softer, dear. Men don't like it when women argue. My Andrew is a sensitive boy. He needs support, not criticism. I don't criticize him, Ludmila Nikolaevna. I'm just trying to discuss our financial problems. Financial problems, the mother-in-law snorted. Money isn't the most important thing in life. The most important thing is family. But you probably don't understand that. After such conversations, Alina felt guilty, although she didn't understand why. She really was trying to make their life better, wasn't she? She wanted them to have financial stability, to be able to save for the future, maybe for children someday. But Andrew saw it differently. In his eyes, Alina was turning into a greedy, callous person who didn't care about his mother. And the more Ludmila Nikolaevna complained to her son, the worse their relationship became. One day Alina came home from work and found that the furniture in the living room had been rearranged. What happened here? She asked Andrew, who was sitting on the couch watching TV. Mom came over. She said the old arrangement was uncomfortable. She rearranged it. Without asking me. What's the big deal? It's just furniture. Andrew, this is our home. We should decide together how to arrange things. It looks fine. Better than before, actually. That's not the point. Then what is the point? That you want to control everything. I don't want to control everything. I want us to make decisions together. Is that really so hard to understand? I understand that you're being unreasonable again. Mom did a nice thing, and you're complaining. Alina felt rage boiling inside her. But she held back, as she had learned to do since childhood. She went to the bedroom, closed the door, and sat on the bed, hugging a pillow. Maybe she really was the problem? Maybe she was too demanding, too rigid? Maybe she should just relax and accept that this was how their life would be. But deep down, she knew that wasn't right. She had the right to her opinion, to personal space, to financial responsibility. She wasn't asking for anything extraordinary, just basic respect. A year into the marriage, Lyudmila Nikolaevna announced that she wanted to buy a dacha. Not repair the old one, but buy a new, bigger, better one. "I found a wonderful option," she said at Sunday dinner at their place. "A nice house with a plot of land. There's a garden, a garage, even a little pond." "Sounds expensive," Andrew noted. "Yes, expensive, but I deserve it. I've worked all my life. Now I want to enjoy myself in my old age." "And how are you planning to buy it?" Alina asked, already guessing the answer. "Well, I'll need a loan, of course. But the problem is that the bank won't give me one. My pension is too small. So I thought." She looked at Andrew with hopeful eyes. "Mom wants me to co-sign the loan," Andrew said that evening when they were alone. "Or better yet, take in your name. You have a better credit history and stable income." Alina felt her heart sink. "What? A loan in my name for a dacha I won't even use? It's for Mom. Andrew, we have our own mortgage. We're barely making the payments as it is. And you want me to take on another loan? It's temporary. Mom will make the payments herself. Like she paid back those other debts?" The words escaped before Alina could stop herself. Andrew's face darkened. "Don't talk about my mother like that. I'm stating facts. She never paid us back for the dacha repairs, or for the furniture, or for the medical treatment, because we didn't demand it. She's family. And what am I? Am I not family? You're my wife. Your duty is to help my mother." "My duty?" Alina couldn't believe her ears. "My duty is to take on debts we can't afford so your mother can buy a luxury dacha?" "It's not a luxury. It's a normal dacha. All her friends have them. I don't care what her friends have. We can't afford another loan. Can't or won't." Andrew stood up abruptly, towering over her. "I'm starting to think you're just a selfish, greedy person who doesn't care about anyone but herself." "That's not true." Tears welled up in Alina's eyes. "I care about us, about our future, about our financial security. My mother is also our future. Your mother is an adult who should be responsible for her own finances." The phrase hung in the air. Andrew looked at her with such hatred that Alina took a step back. "I can't believe you just said that," he said quietly, which was scarier than shouting. "About my mother." "Andrew, I don't want to talk to you right now." He left, and Alina sank onto a chair, shaking. The conflict had moved to a new level. Now it wasn't just about money. It was about fundamental values, about what family meant, about boundaries and respect. The next morning, Lyudmila Nikolaevna called. "Alina, dear," she began in a sugary voice. "Andrew told me you don't want to help with the dacha." "Lyudmila Nikolaevna, it's not that I don't want to help. It's that we can't afford it." "Can't afford it? But you both work. You make good money. We have a mortgage and other expenses. I understand, dear, but this is for me, for my old age. Don't you want me to have a place where I can rest, grow vegetables, receive guests?" "Of course I do. But then what's the problem? You'll take out a loan, and I'll make the payments. I promise. I'll even sign a paper if you want." "It's not about a paper. It's about the fact that we already have enough financial obligations." "Financial obligations?" Lyudmila Nikolaevna's voice turned cold. "I see. Money is more important to you than people." "That's not what I said. No need to explain. I understand everything. I thought you were a good daughter-in-law, but I was wrong. You're destroying my relationship with my son, Alina. Andrew is very upset because of you." "I'm not destroying anything. He's my only son, my only family, and you're taking him away from me." "I'm not taking him away from anyone." "We'll see about that." Lyudmila Nikolaevna hung up. Alina sat staring at the phone, her hands shaking. She felt cornered. Whatever she did, she was wrong. If she agreed to the loan, they'd be in debt up to their ears. If she refused, she was the villain destroying the family. That evening, Andrew came home late and drunk. Alina had never seen him like this. "Where were you?" she asked carefully. "At Mom's," he said, struggling to take off his shoes. "We talked. About you." "About me?" "She's crying because of you." "My own mother is crying." Do you understand what you've done? Andrew, I didn't do anything. You refuse to help her. My own mother asks for help, and my wife refuses her. What will people think? Why do you care what people think? It's our life. My mother is my life. He was almost shouting now. And if you can't understand that, then maybe you're not the right woman for me. The phrase hit like cold water. Alina froze. What did you just say? You heard me. Andrew moved closer, and Alina smelled the alcohol on his breath. Maybe I made a mistake marrying you. Maybe I should have listened to Mom when she said you were too cold, too calculating. She said that. She sees right through you. She knew from the beginning that you only care about money. That's not true. Then prove it. Take out the damn loan. Andrew, please calm down. You're drunk. Let's talk about this tomorrow when... I don't want to talk tomorrow. I want you to call the bank right now and apply for the loan. I can't do that. Can't or won't. Both. The slap came so fast she didn't see it coming. The sound echoed in the apartment. Alina touched her cheek, feeling it burn. For a moment, they both stood frozen. Alina, Andrew began, but she backed away. Don't come near me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. You made me so angry. Get out. What? Get out of this apartment. Now. It's my apartment too. I said get out. Her voice was so cold, so firm, that Andrew actually stepped back. He looked at her, opened his mouth to say something, then turned and left, grabbing his jacket. When the door closed, Alina sank to the floor. She sat there, hugging her knees, feeling her whole body shaking. He had hit her. Her husband had hit her. The man who had promised to love and protect her had raised his hand against her. She sat like that until morning, unable to cry, unable to think clearly. When the first rays of sun came through the window, she got up, washed her face, and looked at herself in the mirror. Her cheek was slightly swollen, a bruise forming. She touched it gently, wincing at the pain. Then she did something she had never done before. She called in sick to work, packed a small bag, and left. She didn't know where she was going, but she knew she couldn't stay in that apartment. She ended up at Svetlana's, her old college friend. When Svetlana opened the door and saw Alina's face, she immediately pulled her inside. Oh my God, what happened? Andrew, was all Alina could say before she finally started crying. Svetlana made tea and sat down next to Alina on the couch, wrapping her in a warm blanket. Tell me everything, she said gently. And Alina told her. About Andrew's mother, about the constant interference, about the money issues, about the loan request, about the fight, and finally about the slap. He hit you, Svetlana said flatly when Alina finished. You need to file a police report. I don't know, Alina whispered. Maybe I really did push him too far. Maybe if I had just agreed to the loan. Stop, Svetlana interrupted firmly. Do you hear yourself? You're making excuses for him. Alina, there is no excuse for domestic violence. None. No matter what you said or did, he had no right to hit you. But maybe I was too rigid about the money. Being responsible with finances is not a crime. Refusing to take on debt you can't afford is not a crime. You know what is a crime? Assault. That's what he did to you. He was drunk. That's not an excuse. If anything, it makes it worse. What happens next time he's drunk and angry? Next time, the words hung in the air. Will it be a next time? Alina touched her bruised cheek. She didn't want to find out. What should I do? She asked, feeling lost. First, you stay here as long as you need. Second, tomorrow we go to the police station. You file a report. Third, you see a lawyer about divorce. Divorce. Alina repeated the word. It felt so final. Yes, divorce. Unless you want to stay with a man who hits you. Alina's phone kept ringing. Andrew was calling. At first, his messages were demanding. Come home right now. We need to talk. Where are you? This is ridiculous. Alina, I'm serious. Come home. Then they became apologetic. I'm sorry. I was drunk. I didn't mean it. Please come back. Let's talk about this. I love you. I made a mistake. Please forgive me. Alina didn't answer any of them. She turned off her phone and tried to sleep, but sleep wouldn't come. She kept replaying the evening in her mind, seeing Andrew's angry face, feeling the sting of the slap. In the morning, true to her word, Svetlana took Alina to the police station. The officer who took her statement was a woman in her 40s with kind but tired eyes. Do you have any proof? She asked after Alina told her story. The bruise on my face, Alina said, touching her cheek. We'll photograph it. Do you have witnesses? No. We were alone in the apartment. Any history of violence? This was the first time, but Alina hesitated. He's been getting more aggressive, yelling, slamming doors, intimidating me. The officer nodded as she typed. I understand. We'll open a case. You should also consider getting a restraining order. Will that really help? It's a legal tool. If he violates it, he could be arrested. But you should also think about your living situation. Do you have somewhere safe to stay? I'm staying with a friend right now. Good. Keep your phone with you at all times. Document any attempts he makes to contact you. Save all messages and voicemails. After the police station, Svetlana took Alina to a lawyer. The lawyer, a woman named Patricia Chun, had a no-nonsense demeanor that Alina found comforting. Do you want to try to save the marriage? Patricia asked after hearing the basics of the situation. No, Alina said without hesitation. It's over. Good. Because in my experience, men who hit once will hit again. Especially when there's this level of family enmeshment and financial manipulation involved. Now, let's talk about the apartment. The apartment was the complicated part. Technically, they had bought it together during the marriage. The mortgage was in Alina's name, but Andrew had contributed to the payments. He'll likely claim he has a right to half, Patricia explained. But there are factors in your favor. You made the down payment from your personal savings before the marriage. The mortgage is solely in your name, and there's documented domestic violence. What if he contests everything? Then we go to court. It might take time, but I'm confident we can get a favorable outcome for you. Time. The word felt heavy. Alina realized she was looking at months, maybe years, of legal battles. But what was the alternative? Go back to a marriage that was making her miserable? Go back to a man who had hit her? No, she had to do this. Let's proceed with the divorce, she said firmly. Excellent. I'll draft the papers today. You'll need to serve him, and then we wait for his response. Andrew's response came quickly and furiously. He called from different numbers, trying to get past the block she'd put on his original number. He showed up at Svetlana's apartment, pounding on the door. Alina, I know you're in there. We need to talk. Svetlana called the police, and they escorted him away with a warning. He sent emails. Long, rambling emails that swung between apologetic and accusatory. I'm sorry I hit you. I was drunk and stressed about my mom. But you pushed me to it with your constant coldness and refusal to help my family. Alina read them once and then forwarded them to her lawyer. Keep these, Patricia advised. They show a pattern of not taking responsibility for his actions. Ludmila Nikolaevna also tried to reach her. She left voicemails in her most manipulative voice. Alina, dear, I don't know what's gotten into you. Andrew made one little mistake, and you're destroying the family over it. Marriage isn't easy. There are ups and downs. You need to forgive and come home. And later, when manipulation didn't work. You're a cold-hearted woman. You've turned my son against me. He's drinking because of you. If anything happens to him, it'll be on your conscience. Alina deleted these messages immediately. 2 weeks after leaving, Alina went back to the apartment when she knew Andrew was at work. She packed her things, clothes, personal items, important documents. As she moved through the rooms, she felt like she was looking at a museum of someone else's life. Had she really lived here? Had she really thought this was her home? She was almost done when she heard the key in the lock. Her heart jumped. Andrew came in and stopped when he saw her. Alina, he said, and there was something desperate in his voice. Thank God. I've been trying to reach you. I came for my things, she said, keeping her voice steady. Your things? What do you mean? This is your home. No, it's not. Not anymore. Alina, please. Can we just talk? Without lawyers and police and all this drama. There's nothing to talk about. I made a mistake. One mistake. And you're throwing away our entire marriage. It wasn't one mistake, Andrew. It was a pattern. Your mother's constant interference. Your inability to set boundaries. The financial manipulation. The drinking. And yes, the violence. I told you I was sorry about that. Being sorry isn't enough. Then what is enough? He moved closer, and Alina instinctively stepped back. He noticed and stopped. I'll do anything. Go to therapy. Stop drinking. Tell my mom to back off. How many times have you promised that before? This time I mean it. No. Alina picked up her bag. I'm done, Andrew. The divorce papers are being filed. You'll be served soon. You can't do this. I can and I am. This marriage is over. What about the apartment? The mortgage? My lawyer will contact yours about the property division. I don't have a lawyer. Then you should get one. She walked past him toward the door. He grabbed her arm. Not hard, but she pulled away sharply. Don't touch me. Alina. Goodbye, Andrew. She left, and this time she didn't look back. The divorce process was grueling. Andrew contested everything. He didn't show up for hearings, forcing rescheduling. He claimed he deserved half the apartment, despite Alina's lawyer's arguments about the down payment and the mortgage terms. He's stalling, Patricia explained, hoping you'll give up or agree to a worse settlement just to make it end. I'm not giving up, Alina said. And she didn't. Through months of court dates, depositions, and negotiations, she held firm. Meanwhile, she was rebuilding her life piece by piece. She found a small studio apartment to rent. It wasn't much, just one room with a kitchenette and a tiny bathroom, but it was hers. She didn't have to worry about Andrew's mother showing up unannounced. She didn't have to walk on eggshells, afraid of saying the wrong thing. The landlady, a pleasant middle-aged woman, immediately took a liking to Alina and even gave her a small discount on the rent. Everything will be okay, dear, she said, handing over the keys. I'm sure of it. Alina threw herself into work. It was the one area of her life where she felt in control, competent. She stayed late, took on extra projects, volunteered for the challenging assignments. Her managers noticed. Alina, are you okay? Her supervisor asked one day. You're doing excellent work, but I'm worried you're burning out. I'm fine, Alina assured her. Work helps me stay focused. Well, don't forget to take care of yourself, too. But work was taking care of herself in a way. Every completed project, every problem solved, every positive feedback reminded her that she was capable, that she had value beyond being someone's wife or daughter-in-law. 8 months after the separation, Alina was promoted to financial director. The salary increase was substantial, enough that she could start seriously saving again, planning for her future. Congratulations, her managing director said, shaking her hand. You've earned this. That evening, Alina called Svetlana to celebrate. I'm so proud of you, Svetlana said, raising her wine glass in the restaurant they'd chosen. I always knew you were strong. I didn't, Alina admitted. For so long, I felt weak, like I needed someone else to validate me, to make me complete. And now I know I'm complete on my own. The relationship, the marriage, those should have been additions to my life, not the foundation of it. Damn right, Svetlana clinked her glass against Alina's. Here's to you, and to never settling for less than you deserve. The divorce was finally finalized after almost a year. The court ruled mostly in Alina's favor. She kept the apartment, but had to pay Andrew a compensation equal to 1/3 of its current value. Could have been worse, Patricia said, reviewing the final documents. You want a half. You're paying significantly less than that. Alina agreed. She immediately put the apartment on the market. She didn't want it anymore. It held too many bad memories. She wanted a fresh start. The apartment sold quickly, and after paying Andrew his compensation and the remaining mortgage, Alina had enough for a down payment on a new place. She found a cozy 2-bedroom in a quiet neighborhood. It had large windows that let in lots of light, a small balcony with a view of a park, and most importantly, no memories. She furnished it herself, choosing each piece carefully. No more compromises, no more considering what Andrew or his mother would think. Just her taste, her style, her home. Her relationship with her father had also evolved. After the divorce, she visited him more regularly, but on her own terms. You got divorced, he said the first time she came by after everything was finalized. It wasn't a question. Yes. He was quiet for a moment, then said, Good. That man was no good for you. It was perhaps the most supportive thing he'd ever said to her. He hit me, Dad, Alina said quietly. Just once, but that was enough. Her father's jaw tightened. I should have. He trailed off. Your mother would have known what to do. Mom would have told me to forgive him, to keep the family together. Maybe, or maybe, he looked at her with something like regret in his eyes. Maybe she would have told you what I'm telling you now. You deserve better. You always did. Thank you, Dad. They watched TV together in comfortable silence, and Alina realized that this was progress. They would never have the warm, close relationship she sometimes envied in other families, but they had this, a quiet understanding, a mutual respect. Alina started to enjoy her independence. For the first time in her life, she was making decisions based solely on what she wanted, not what others expected of her. She signed up for Spanish lessons, something she'd always wanted to do but never had time for. She started jogging in the mornings, enjoying the solitude and the endorphin rush. She joined a book club and made new friends who knew her as Alina the person, not Alina the daughter or Alina the wife. There were still difficult moments. Sometimes late at night, loneliness would creep in. She'd lie in bed wondering if she'd made the right choice, if she'd ever find love again, if she was destined to be alone. In those moments, she'd remember Andrew's angry face, his raised hand, Ludmila Nikolaevna's manipulations. She'd remember feeling small and powerless in her own home. And she'd realize that being alone was infinitely better than being with someone who made her feel that way. She wasn't actively looking for a new relationship. The wounds were still too fresh, the memories too painful. But she was open to the possibility, someday, when she was ready. Meanwhile, she focused on herself. She started therapy, something she'd been avoiding because it felt like admitting weakness. But her therapist, Dr. Williams, helped her see it differently. Therapy isn't about being weak, Dr. Williams explained in their first session. It's about being strong enough to face your issues and work through them. They talked about Alina's childhood, about her mother's death and her father's emotional distance. They talked about how those experiences had shaped her, made her afraid of conflict, eager to please, willing to accept less than she deserved. You were conditioned from a young age to make yourself small, Dr. Williams said. To believe that your needs didn't matter, that keeping the peace was more important than your own well-being. Yes, Alina said, feeling tears prick her eyes. That's exactly it. The good news is that conditioning can be unlearned. It takes work, but it's possible. And it was work. Hard work. Alina had to consciously practice setting boundaries, speaking up for herself, prioritizing her own needs. It felt wrong at first, selfish even. But gradually, it started to feel natural. A year after the divorce was finalized, Andrew reached out again. He called from an unknown number one evening. "We need to talk," he said without preamble. "About the divorce?" Alina asked, immediately on guard. "I already filed the paperwork. You should have received the documents." "Not about the divorce. I don't agree to the divorce." "That doesn't matter. In cases of domestic violence, the court will grant a divorce regardless of whether both parties agree." "Alina, I overreacted. It won't happen again." "Really? What about the constant criticisms? The manipulation? Your mother's interference in our lives? Will that not happen again, too?" Andrew was silent for a moment. "I talked to my mother. I explained to her that she shouldn't interfere." Alina laughed bitterly. She'd heard these promises before. "It's too late, Andrew. I made my decision." "What about the mortgage?" "The apartment." There were pleading notes in his voice now. "We chose it together, renovated it together." "The mortgage was in my name," Alina reminded him. "But I'm willing to pay you compensation for your share when I sell the apartment." "Sell it? You're going to sell it?" "Yes. There's no we anymore, Andrew. It's over." She hung up, feeling her heart racing. The conversation hadn't been easy, but she'd gotten through it. She hadn't broken down, hadn't given in to manipulation. The divorce proceeded. Andrew obstructed at every turn, didn't show up for hearings, contested every point of the agreement. When it became clear that Alina wouldn't change her mind, he started demanding half of the apartment. "Does he have the right to that?" Alina asked Patricia. "Theoretically, yes. Legally, you acquired this asset during the marriage. But there are nuances. The mortgage is in your name. The down payment was also from your personal funds. Plus, there's the documented case of domestic violence." We'll fight. And they fought. Almost 6 months of court hearings, evaluations, financial investigations. In the end, the court ruled in Alina's favor. The apartment remained hers, but with the condition of paying Andrew compensation equal to 1/3 of its value. Could have been worse, Patricia shrugged. Consider yourself lucky. Alina did feel lucky. She'd lost money but gained freedom and self-respect. It was like being born again. Work helped her avoid sinking into depression. Alina threw herself into projects, started staying late, taking on extra assignments. Her diligence was noticed. 8 months after the divorce, she got promoted to financial director with a substantial salary increase. Congratulations, the managing director said, shaking her hand. You've earned it. That evening, Alina felt like she was flying home. She called Svetlana, invited her to celebrate the promotion at a restaurant. You're amazing. Svetlana sincerely rejoiced, raising her glass of wine. I always knew you were strong. Not always, Alina smiled. You didn't see me before. Before Andrew, before the divorce. It doesn't matter what you were like. What matters is who you are now. And who is she now? Alina often asked herself this question. Strong? Yes. Independent? Absolutely. Happy? Perhaps not yet, but definitely on the way. After selling the apartment and paying Andrew's compensation, there was a decent sum left, enough for a down payment on a new place. Alina bought a small but cozy 2-bedroom in a quiet neighborhood, furnished it to her taste, without regard for anyone else's preferences. For the first time in her life, she had a real home, a place where she could relax, be herself, without fear of criticism or reproach. Her relationship with her father also changed. After the divorce, Alina visited him more often, but now she didn't allow him to criticize her life or tell her how to act. I'm an adult now, Dad, she said firmly when he tried to reproach her for the failed marriage. I'm responsible for my own decisions and my own life. For the first time, she saw something like respect in his eyes. Alina wasn't looking for a new relationship. The memories of her marriage to Andrew were too fresh. She enjoyed her freedom, the ability to decide for herself how to spend her time, where to go on vacation, what to spend money on. She signed up for Spanish classes, had always wanted to learn that language. Started jogging in the mornings, watching her diet. Joined a book club. Life gradually filled with new colors, new people, new experiences. Of course, there were difficult moments. Sometimes at night, melancholy, doubts, fear of loneliness would wash over her. In those moments, Alina would remember how Andrew had yelled at her, how he had raised his hand, how he had allowed his mother to interfere in their lives, and she understood that loneliness wasn't the worst thing. Far scarier was being with someone who didn't respect you, who didn't see you as a person with your own desires and rights. Part 7. Full circle. A year after the divorce, Andrew showed up again. He called and asked to meet just to talk. What? Alina asked directly. We have nothing more to talk about. I've changed, he said quietly. Really changed. I've been seeing a therapist. I've learned a lot about myself, about my relationship with my mother. I'd like to apologize in person. Alina hesitated. On one hand, this chapter of her life was closed. On the other, some part of her wanted to see this new Andrew. Maybe for closure, maybe out of curiosity. They met at a small cafe downtown. Alina arrived early, took a table by the window. Seeing her ex-husband entering the cafe, she felt nothing. No bitterness, no anger, no longing. Just detached interest, as if toward a barely familiar person. Hi, Andrew said, sitting down across from her. Thanks for agreeing to meet. He looked haggard. There were shadows under his eyes. He was dressed sloppily, wrinkled shirt, worn jeans. Not the put-together man she'd married. How are you? Alina asked, just to start the conversation. Fine, he smiled crookedly. Still working at the same company. Renting an apartment near Mom's. Something in his voice made Alina alert. How is Ludmila Nikolaevna? Mom. Andrew stumbled. Mom bought that dacha. Took out a loan in my name. And she isn't paying it. He laughed bitterly. She keeps saying her pension is delayed, or she bought expensive medicine, or something else. In the end, I'm the one paying. More than half my salary goes to it. Alina said nothing. She wanted to say, I warned you. but she held back. You know, Andrew suddenly said, looking into her eyes, I only now understand how right you were about everything. About my financial irresponsibility. About Mom's influence. He talked for a long time, repenting, apologizing, sharing his insights from therapy sessions. Alina listened attentively without interrupting. When he finished, she asked, What do you want, Andrew? Forgiveness. He hesitated. Not just that. I thought maybe we could try again. I really have changed, Alina. I still love you. Alina looked at him and suddenly felt infinitely sorry for this man. He still hadn't really grown up. Still looking for someone to take care of him, solve his problems, fill his life with meaning. No, Andrew, she said softly but firmly. I forgive you, sincerely forgive you. But going back to the past is impossible. I've changed. You've changed. We've become different people. But, no, she shook her head. I wish you happiness, truly. I hope you find your path. But that path will be without me. She paid for the coffee, said goodbye, and left the cafe, feeling a strange relief. As if the last thread connecting her to the past had finally broken. Outside it was cool but sunny. Alina lifted her face to the sky, squinting from the bright light. Ahead was so much. New work opportunities, that trip to Spain she'd dreamed about since childhood. Maybe even a new relationship when she was ready. But most importantly, ahead was herself. Strong, free, believing in herself. A woman who wasn't afraid to start from scratch and build a life by her own rules. A new life, Alina thought, smiling. My new life. And she walked forward decisively toward a future that now belonged only to her. That's the story. Please like and subscribe to the channel.